Whoa.
It's starting to feel like, honestly, really weird. Really weird.
I like you just got like really nauseous.
Back here?
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's making every hair on my body stand up. Did you see that? Hi, I'm Jamie Delzell,
And I'm Deanna Palazzo.
and this is Haunted Huronia.
A show where we investigate some of Huronia's historical landmarks and learn more about their haunted past.
Today we're at Penetanguishene Centennial Museum and Archives.
Should we go check it out? Here we go.
So we're here, we're heading down to the basement of the museum. I'm going to be doing EVP from my phone on me at all times. And also, we have my laptop set up for EVP as well. As you can see, it picks up any voice or any noise. The mic is set up in the middle of a bunch of very old and antique and allegedly haunted paraphernalia. So we'll leave that here and have that recording throughout our investigation and interviews. I'll have this on me and hopefully we'll pick something up.
So right now you're standing inside an original 1875 general store. It was owned by the Beck Manufacturing Company, which was a lumber company here in Penetanguishene. And when this was built, it was built along with the Charles Beck's lumber office, which was right beside this building here.
Is there any stories at all you can tell us about the Beck family themselves?
Well, Charles Beck came here in the late 1860s, and he originally came from Germany. He came here to build himself an empire, and he was quite industrious. He did build very quickly in this area, and he had 9 children. One of the things he used to do here at the general store is he used to pay all his employees half their wage in Beck money and half their wage in Canadian money, and they spent the Beck money in the store here. So he really wanted to keep the business going here and keep his employees coming back. He was considered a sort of a modern man in a way that he did bring hydro to this area, and he did bring, he had the first car in this area. But he was really tight with his money, and he really liked to take control over this building. So a lot of times we hear stories that he's still here watching over this building because it was very important to him. It's where he had his general store and his lumber office and where he kept all of his money.
So he doesn't have the big happy smile, but he's smiling with his eyes. It's nice. He looks like a happy man. All right, here's the safe. Apparently people don't feel comfortable.
I do.
I don't know why you wouldn't feel comfortable in a safe. But,
yeah.
oh yeah, no, this is,
Yeah, energy's weird. The air.
Did you come? Yeah, that was different. I was like, somebody just blew on my face. And I thought maybe there was a vent, but
I heard a knock.
I did too.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here for 12 years, so there's definitely been a lot of things that happened to me. I think a lot of things I ignored or didn't realize that they were real sort of happenings because it is an old building. So sometimes when you hear things creaking and you just think it's a building, but a lot of time, especially when I first started working here, I'd be downstairs and upstairs in the original part, I'd always hear something fall. And I'd always run up because, I mean, it's a museum. I don't want any of my artifacts to be broken. And I'd go up there and nothing would be on the ground, and I'd walk down. And I constantly heard this a lot, and I was always running up and down, and eventually just started ignoring it because it was quite tiresome to keep on running up down the stairs.
There you go. So one of the stories I don't think they told, I don't know, it was after they heard a noise or something, but one of these pictures was just swinging. Just swinging away.
So my office is actually right on this side. So this staircase, when visitors are coming up and down, I hear them going down these stairs. They also go the other stairs. But sometimes whenever I hear footsteps, I just assume it's visitors. But sometimes when I know there's only people, there's no one in the building, I still hear some footsteps coming up and down these stairs. And this is the spot where I hear the most activity because of my location. And then when we go upstairs,
I'm starting to feel like, honestly, really weird. Really weird.
Okay, so we're in the Great Hall of the museum. We're on the upper floor. This is the room that we rent out for parties and workshops and things of that nature.
Is that normal?
Flickering?
Yeah.
Well,
Is that always like that?
no. It could be something. It is purported that there is a portal in this room, and a portal is like an opening into the spirit world that they can come and go through, and it's manned by Charles Beck.
He mans the portal?
He mans the portal.
so this is a spot where we had those volunteers that were in the middle of the room, sort of dressing it up for one of our special events. And this is the light switch right here that all of the lights. So you see, we have
There's 5 switches.
we have 5 switches right there, and every single one of them was turned off when they were in the middle of the room.
It's pretty. It's a really cold spot right behind you. Like,
Doesn't feel as cold in here as it does.
no, it doesn't.
It feels like.
I honestly, it felt like weak in here last time. It's weird. I don't really feel much now.
I feel better in this room than I have in anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like I was worried that it was like my blood sugar or something in the other rooms, but now I'm like
Feel
feeling
okay?
more like myself. But in the other rooms, like I distinctly felt like, especially in the basement.
That was crazy. It wasn't moving much, but it was moving. And then when I got up, it almost felt like something bolted. And I had that weird. I got up, it almost quick, and it felt like I scared something. And then I don't know, it was weird.
Stop moving.
Were you able to see that? You couldn't tell that. It was very, very subtle, but it was for sure.
Moving.
I was going to get nailed, I think. What was that? That was weird. It was very faint. It sounded like it was from over there to me.
No, it was really moving. I keep feeling like I see like in the mirror, like something darting, like a shadow, but I keep looking to see if it's one of you guys moving. Because when you guys cross the light from the camera, right, there's a reflection, but I keep catching from the corner of my eye it looking like a small shadow moving across. Which, where it's landing there would be where we are. Do you know what I mean?
That was one of the creepiest because they screamed, and it was quite scary to hear your volunteers screaming when you're downstairs. And that's why and there was no one else. They were up here, and Jen and I were downstairs, and that was the only people in the building at the time.
I think the first week you're here is always your initiation week. Anybody who's ever worked here or volunteered here always come back with a story within their first few days. And mine was on my 3rd day. I was out the front of the building here. I was decorating a window. So I had my back to the room, and I heard something drag across the floor. It sounded like a heavy piece of furniture drag across the floor. So naturally I turned around very quickly, and no one was there.
Wow.
That was my initiation.
So we're just trying out a new thermal cam here. We'll go around. This is the spot where Mary seems to be seen the most. Holy, oh God, that scared the shit out of me. That was your reflection in here. Look at how terrifying that is. Woo!
We had a plumber here who ran up from the basement and never came back. We've had a curator that worked here who refused to go to the basement after something happened to her down there. So yeah, everybody's had their experiences, yeah. I have seen on video, when we've had an investigation here, I've seen a small orb. We have had some people who have seen it with the naked eye. I haven't had that pleasure, I missed that one. But it was in our basement, and 3 different people saw it as it came across the room and up the stairs here. So the basement has always kind of been an oppressive area. It's where you do feel like you're being watched rather carefully, and you have the feeling in your head that someone does not want you to touch things. So this is where we have the vast amount of the storage for our collections, things that aren't currently on display.
What's your head?
We have had 2 mediums here, professional mediums, who actually have their own television show. And they were here for about 5 days. And they said it was the busiest, spiritually busiest place they'd ever filmed in or investigated.
Wow.
So they encountered someone in every corner of every room. But we have so many artifacts here that give off so much energy and have attachments to them of people that might have owned them.
Yeah, it started moving pretty quick.
Yeah, so there's a lot of energy coming off of there.
Yes.
We had a volunteer who was also very skeptical, and he was down here working one day, and he came upstairs and said to Nicole and I, "Were you guys downstairs?" I said, "No, we've been up here." He says, "You're sure?" And he was quite angry. He thought we'd play a joke on him. To this day, he won't tell us what happened down here, but all he said to us is, "I believe you now."
Wow.
In this area here, we can see the iron beds at the back that came from the asylum.
Oh, wow.
And we believe that's where the attachment for one of our spirits, Sarah, came in as an attachment to that, because she did live and she did die at the asylum.
That's really interesting. Is there a sensor light somewhere there too? Because something just went
No?
weird. I don't know what that was, but for sure a light just went off over there.
Well, that could be.
Cool. Yeah, there's for sure something that's going on and off out there. I've seen it at least twice, 2 or 3 times. Wow. Yeah, okay. Don't worry, we're not going to touch anything. Yeah.
We just wanted to say thank you for having us.
A lot of times, I think a lot of the stories we get is they feel like they're being watched. I guess that's the best sort of explanation. Like, some people might not have stories, but down here they just always feel like someone's watching them, which I think is okay, because that means they won't be hurting the artifacts.
There you go. Someone's protecting when you're not.
But yeah, there's definitely that sort of eerie feeling down here of being watched and having someone sort of almost like right behind you when you're walking. Even right now, actually, I'm kind of feeling a little creepy right now, and I normally don't. But you know.
Well, I don't want to scare you too much.
Yeah.
I just don't feel right down here. Like, I get really dizzy. I need to get out of here. I just got really nauseous.
Back here?
Yeah, man. There's something about it that scares me to go in.
It's dark.
No, but I just was
Okay, too.
taking.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I came back in here.
Woo.
Right.
Yeah, as soon as I
in the
walked in,
doorway.
it was a complete
It
temperature
feels like
change.
it feels like I just had peppermint gum. Like, it feels like, you know how
That cold,
the
yeah,
icy feeling that you have, like in the wintertime, is what it feels like right now in my mouth. It just feels colder.
No, 100%. It feels like it. It feels like it's dropping like enough for me to be like, yeah, it's very much colder right here.
Mm-hmm. Now, have you always been a believer in these experiences, or in?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I was a skeptic for years, and every time someone would say something to me, I would be, trying to figure out some sort of realistic reason about how it could happen. A lot of times, like, well, it's an old building. I'm sure there's a lot of furnaces go off that sort of do things and make things fall and everything. But it's just, after so many years and hearing so many stories, I just really cannot sort of explain everything away. And it's not because I've been here 12 years. We don't get these experiences every single day. It's not something every day something's going on. It is really just a certain amount of stories that I've sort of heard throughout the years. And it just seems strange that it always seems to be the same kind of stories from different people. And as I said, a lot of our former students come back, visit, say, oh, I was here when I was 16, and they would just start telling me their ghost story. And it's like the one thing that they all like to talk about. And I guess I feel like this is like a safe space to talk about it. They don't seem too crazy to talk about the ghosts here. And we just accept it and we listen to the stories.
Every time we turn this camera, when we're interviewing Jan, I kept seeing something go off, and I was asking if there's a light out here because that thing, it wasn't working the other day and it kept shorting out. And Nicole said last night she came in and the light just completely wasn't working, right?
Yeah, yesterday I had a meeting last night from 7 till 9. And so when I left here, it was really dark because I'm like, wow, why is it so dark? And I realized that light was off. So today, for it to be completely on right
That's
now,
working perfect.
It's like freaking me out because things like this happen to me all the time where things are not working and then they are working and then they'll stop working again and all of a sudden out of nowhere they'll start working again. So
as we were leaving the other night, this light, as we were walking out, it turned on completely. It was been flickering the whole time, and it turned on completely. And like, well, okay, it's fine, it works. And as we took a couple steps out of there, it just went out.
And it was definitely it was almost darker, like
it was like a blue,
greeny,
green.
bluey.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was a completely different light, that's for sure. And whatever.
Yeah, I would have thought you replaced it. Any more in this space, which I obviously was very frequented?
well, the children, the idea of playful children, I think they have been people have talked about them throughout the whole entire place. Mm-hmm. And so definitely a lot in sort of this area. Definitely over there on that sort of oak area here. This is one time we took a picture of an event we had here, and in the background, both Jan and I could clearly see an image that looked exactly like Charles Beck. And that was kind of one of, she was kind of looking at the photo on her computer as I was walking by, and it just really sort of struck me. I was like, oh my gosh, how is, Charles Beck in the back of that photo? And she's like, I know.
This is the picture that actually made us finally call the meetings. I don't know if you can see right here, we have outline of a face, beard.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Mouth,
I see
nose,
it now. Oh, wow.
eyes, glasses.
I did not see that at first, but now I can completely see that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, yeah, that's weird.
Mm-hmm. Of course, again, being on wood, it's not a reflective surface, and we can go out and look at that cabinet.
Yeah, that's pretty prominent to me.
Yeah, especially the nose here.
Yeah,
And
you can full see his eyes.
Yeah, little glasses.
His little goatee.
Beard, yep.
Or yeah, I guess that's that looks.
And we can go out and compare it to the bust of the gentleman we have out there on our floor.
Wow.
So these are the busts that were brought back from the mausoleum. So that is the bust of Charles Beck, and that's the face that we feel we could see in that cabinet. And I can take you around to have a look at the cabinet as well. So the picture is right up in here. That's where the face appeared, right up in that corner.
Yeah, there's definitely no spots that look like that at all.
I've looked from all different angles and I can't pick it up.
Yeah, I don't know how you would get that.
Did you want to look at the other one while you're here?
Sure.
There we go.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa! That. Oh,
So-
man!
Yeah, this is upstairs in the Great Hall. This is during one of our weekend
Oh,
workshops.
that's making every hair on my body stand up.
So you can clearly see lady's shoulders. There's an orb here, but there's eyes, nose,
That's
mouth.
intense.
And that
Wow.
was taken just, people will randomly just take shots and then later see if anything shows up.
There. Did you see that? Man, that's unreal.
Well, that's a wrap here for us at the Penetanguishene Centennial Museum and Archives. We're gonna go back and start combing through all our footage and see what we can find. You almost done there?
Just about.
Jamie? Exits that way.
Yeah, there's some weird, like, you can hear like a rumble. It just almost sounds like the rooms get it, like, I don't know, it's weird. Just going through all the EVP that we had at the Penetang Museum, and there's quite a bit of interesting stuff. It's very difficult to determine what I'm hearing for a lot of it. I mean, you know, their sounds could be anything. But it would be interesting to try and maybe get this sent to somebody that, if they're able to decipher what these sounds are. Some of them I can't explain. There's some weird snapping that happens seemingly sporadically throughout the recording, but it's always on a 06, like 22 minutes 06 or 2 hours 06. It's always on a 06, which is quite intriguing. I don't know why that would be. Like, listen to this. You can. It's right before one of those snaps again. See, it's like 2:23:06. Hold on. You hear the steps before it? You want me to just play that
Almost
part?
like it could have been like a chair being pulled out, or the only thing I could think of it is like a chair being pulled out, or something being furniture, like a slight drag. You know, when you go and take a seat in a chair and there's like a bit of a pull.
Is that what it sounded like? Just a quick.
That's the only thing I can equate it to. From knowing what's up in that up on that floor, it would be like a chair being pulled, or it would be
Right. But
the
there's
bench
nobody up
being
there.
moved. No, there was 100% no one up there. There's activity. There's some sort of activity for sure.
I can't personally say 100% that I had any paranormal experiences happen to me, but definitely stuff I can't explain. The feeling of uneasiness and sickness through most of the stuff in the basement. Could equate that to anything. So I can't go out and say, yes, this place is definitely haunted, but I can say that we experienced stuff that we can't explain, and would definitely like to look more into it.
Going into this whole thing, I don't think I really knew what to expect. I kind of, Jamie's always talked about doing this kind of stuff, and as much as I kind of am on both sides of the fence of a believer and non-believer. My brain always wants to kind of explain how it, it's not anything. How it's, well, a sound is it's clearly a pipe. A gust of wind or a cold feeling must just be a cold spot. My brain wants to justify it, but there was so many things that happened when we were there that I just couldn't justify. I was running by but like it felt like something tugged at me and pulled it off, and now it's flashing red. And this was low battery.
And they were both new batteries? Mine's full.
I'm not even joking, because I was running out of your way, so it wasn't in your shot. I can't explain that. There's a distinct feeling between something falling off and something being ripped off. And the fact that my mic pack was under my sweater, in my pants, and we're, going around a corner and feeling that yank of that mic pack just being ripped off my person was just, I can't explain why that happened and the sensation that was associated with it. And even if I can justify that, the fact that to our knowledge, every mic pack had full batteries, and then for it to be flashing red on the ground that the battery was dead, when I can't explain that. That's weird. Other photo.
Not even taken it, eh?
Nope. Not at all. In the other room, I was taking black and white photos. Do you see this?
Should be.
There's more light in this photo.
There you go. That definitely shouldn't be too dark to focus. What's going
The
on?
camera's not working anymore. We went in knowing that there was a lot of people that had experiences, and I guess part of me knew it was a possibility, but I really thought, I'm very fascinated about the history of Huronia and of where we're living, and that was kind of what really intrigued me and excited me, and to hear all the stories and to have actually had some experiences kind of blows my mind.
Well, that's a wrap for this episode of Haunted Huronia. We had a really interesting time at the museum, and we look forward to seeing what else Huronia has to offer.
Absolutely. And if you have any stories that you'd like to share with us, we encourage you to reach out to us on our Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at Haunted Huronia. A big thanks to Jen and Nicole from the Penetanguishene Centennial Museum in the town of Penetanguishene for letting us explore.
Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
It's on.
Come on,
It's on.
what's the setting? What setting's it on?
Oh, I know it's wrong. But still, it should be.
Debunked.
That was a dum-dum.